Welcome everybody to the June meeting of Gomford Water County Council. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge acknowledgement of country. I'd like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri people who are traditional custodians of the land. I'd also like to pay respect to their people, both past and present, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal Australians who are present. Leave of absence apologies. I've got an apology here from a motion that the apology received from Councillor Joanne McKay be accepted and a leave of absence be granted. Could I get a mover and a seconder for that? Matt and Les, thank you. All in favour? Aye. Thank you. Attendance of councillors for audio-visual link. Council's Code of Meeting Practice permits councils to attend and participate in meetings of the council with the approval of the council or relevant committee. There's clauses there pertaining to that. Webcasting of council meeting. Attendees of this meeting are reminded that the meeting is being recorded and made publicly available on council's website, and persons attending the meeting should refrain from making any defamatory statements. Item 6, presentations. There's no presentations scheduled for this meeting. Confirmation of the minutes. There's a recommendation there that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting of the 23rd of April 2026, copies of which were previously circulated, are hereby confirmed as a true and correct of the proceedings of that meeting. A mover and a seconder for that, please. Rodney and Cameron. Thank you. All in favour? Item 8, disclosures and declarations of interest. Council and senior staff are reminded of their obligation to declare their interest in any matters listed before them. Councillors may declare an interest at the commencement of the meeting or alternatively at any time during the meeting, should any issues progress or arise that would warrant the declarations. Council must state their reason in declaring any type of interest. No disclosures or declaration? No. Business without notice. There's clauses there if anyone's got any business that needs to be addressed here. And I do not have a chairperson's minute at this point. Now we're going to jump ahead a little bit in the agenda to page 38. We'll address the item 13.4 PP 019 Code of Meeting Practice. There's a recommendation there that Council rescind Resolution 25-124, which endorsed PP 019 Code of Meeting Practice and place it on public exhibition along with its subsequent adoption. As no public submissions were received, this has the effect of reinstating the previously adopted PP 019 Code of Meeting Practice, which is aligned with the 2021 Meeting Code of Practice. A mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Les and Leon. Any discussions on that? I think that's basically we're going back to how we used to meet, but we've decided we're still going to do the audio-visual recording and stream it live. No other discussions on that? If not, I'll take a vote. All in favour? Aye. Thank you, carried. Okay, we'll refer back to section 11, reports from committees. 11.1, minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 28th of May 2026. The recommendation there that Council receive and note the minutes of the Audit, Risk and Improvement Committee meeting held on the 28th of May 2026. Mover and a seconder. Rodney and Cameron. Thank you. Any discussion on that? We have the minutes of that meeting there in front of us. If there's no questions or comments, I'll take a vote that we accept that recommendation. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Okay, there is no correspondence inwards. So section 13, Corporate Service Manager, Councillors and Chairperson's fee for 2026-27. Recommendation. The Councillors and Chairperson's fee be increased by 3.7% for the 2026-27 financial year as per the Local Government Remuneration Tribunal determination dated 23rd of April 26. 2, that the annual remuneration for 2026-27 is councillor $11,746.01 and chairperson $19,293.05. A mover and a seconder for that recommendation? Neil and Les, thank you. Any discussion, comment on that? All good. We'll take a vote. All in favour of that recommendation? Thank you. 13.2, pensioners concession policy. Recommendation there that council receive and adopt PP 002 pensioner concession policy. Mover and a seconder for that motion. Recommendation, Matt and Graham. Thank you. Any discussion on that? I think there's been a few changes, but it all needs the same at the end of the day, I believe. Your pensioner. All in favour of that policy? Against? Carried. 13.3, Audit and Risk Improvement Committee Charter. Recommendation that council receive and adopt the updated PP 033 Audit and Risk Improvement Committee Charter. Mover and a seconder for that recommendation. No, Les, sorry. And Cameron. Any discussion on that? All good. All in favour of that recommendation? Against? Carried. Thank you. 13.4, we've done 13.5. Council Cash and Investment Report, April and May. Recommendation that council receive and note the council cash and investment report for April and May. Mover and a seconder, please. Neil and Graham, thank you. Any discussion there? I do note that we've had a fairly large increase for May with bills being paid and some more being sold. So we're in a very financial situation there and still managing to do our infrastructure upgrades. So congratulations to the team managing that. Any further discussion on that? Being not, we'll take a vote. All in favour of the recommendation? Against? Carried. Operations Manager, Alex, has nothing to report. All moving along nicely. Thanks, Alex. Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I wouldn't say nothing going on.
No, plenty happening. We're making good progress in light meter and table replacement program. We finished for that at our Wyland depot. We finished at the Coomera depot, and Temora depot's just got Temora left. Junee depot's just got Junee left, and Main depot's just got a few left in Main, but generally just Coolman left. So we're really narrowing down at the pointy end of that, which is good. And then plenty of work's happening with Rose Hill project happening at the moment. We've just started the subdivision out the southern side of Temora here as well at the moment. And yeah, everything's ticking along nicely.
Wonderful. Thanks, Alex. We'll move on to 15, Production and Services Manager, Jeff's report. 15.1, Hour Pump Station and Dosing Design and Construction, Progress Report for June 2026. The recommendation there that Council note the information on the progress of the Hour project provided within the body of this report, including updates on budget, timeline and general progress. Above the requested budget adjustment of $600,000 excluding GST, detailed in financial impact statement within the report. We get a mover and seconder for that recommendation. Cameron and Neil, thank you. Discussions on that?
Through the chair, can I mention too, on your table you've got just an A3 sheet just with a few photos of the project progress. Just ask the team just to show you the scale of the works that we're doing in these rectification works. So I I'm not sure if Jeff's had a chance to have a look at them. It was just a last minute decision, but it just puts it into context how big these works are. So when you see the staff standing alongside these pipes and they're, half the height. And even over the page, you can see the progress at the moment, just from the outside. It's really taking shape down there now.
And I noticed that big excavator we bought for a specific job has been getting used quite extensively, so that was a good investment, I believe, there.
So I think most of the team, Jeff, are going to be happy when this project's complete,
Very
including
much,
yourself.
very, very much so.
Yes. Certainly big gear.
So what's the lifespan of all this stuff? Another year before we look at doing this again, like replacement.
Through you, Mr. Chair. So each asset has a separate component. The pipework itself is set for 100 years. So that's what we have in our assets, either 80 to 100 years, depending on the materials. The motors themselves, we give them about a 20-year life. And the pumps, we obviously undertake renewals on the majority of those, but we do major overhauls depending on the type of pump and the environment it's in. Like, just as an example, Dugong treatment plant, we've got some large pumps there. We renew those every 2 years, and that costs us between $110,000 and $130,000 for a full overhaul. But then we've got a different, same pump, different location, being Dugong number 2, and we would probably only undertake those overhauls probably once every 5 years, just because it doesn't have the same amount of like pressure and water and things like that. Certain things chew certain parts, and we have to do more maintenance on those. These ones here, unknown until we trial, so we're still going to get through commissioning and hope they turn on. But we're expecting a 5-year process for these pumps as a major overhaul. Obviously, we undertake still 6 and 12 monthly maintenance processes. It usually comes down to around the running gear, like bearings on shafts and stuff like that. And we won't know until we get it turned on and running, because the resonance from vibration on those plinths and concretes can change it dramatically over a period of time.
And what about the VSDs? Like big change there.
The drives themselves, yeah, so they've been in place now 2020, I think I finished those ones, and they've been commissioned 2020, 2021. They've got a 40-year lifespan. Generally, VSDs, I probably wouldn't go more than 10 years, but that's usually low voltage. These high voltage ones are 20 to 40 in terms of life. We do have a maintenance program that's scheduled with Schneider, who are the owners, because obviously they're pretty nifty in terms of the technology we have on those for monitoring as well. And they come, it's a 5-year scheduled maintenance program. And if we meet that program, then technically we should get 40-year life out of those assets. And they're about a $400,000 asset each. So, yeah, nothing's cheap, but we should get that.
I think that's something the community needs to know about it, because it often gets comments, why is all this idea and so forth, and like when this, things like that, like pumps have to be rebuilt every couple of years, $100,000 stuff that sort of people don't understand then,
When you turn the tap on, it's not free.
Yeah.
So I think those sort of things need to be sort of probably publicised a bit more. So
That's right, and we're in I suppose, a different situation compared to most rural or regional councils. The size of the assets we're using, I don't know other councils outside of, I think, Central Coast and Shoalhaven who are actually using high voltage assets at that size because of the distances and the volumes we need to pump. Electricity costs currently at the moment, I think, are around $1.6 million just per hour, just for this year. So those costs on that water definitely makes those impacts.
2 of the other counties, they have their dams that are above and they bring the water down. So it's gravity. That's the difference with us, with those big lifts.
Yeah.
And to get those lives out of that electrical gear, we have to have it in a controlled atmosphere room too. So it's not just a switch gear sitting out in the paddock.
No, correct. Yeah, it's 25 degrees is the magic number. Anything above that, the damage is exponential. So your life goes down. So air conditioning is key and critical. Yeah.
So through the chair, Jeff's asking here for some additional funds, and I know we've done that once before, but what we're trying to show you here is the size of this pipe work is massive, and we have had issues with supply of material. We just had issues the other day where if you have a look at those bolt hole configurations, you know, we had a quality assurance document that come with it, but from one end they were out 16 mil, wasn't it? So the holes don't align from, you know, this end to 5.6 metres long. So when you go to bolt it up, it doesn't align. Now you would assume that, you know, that's even been signed off quality wise, that we shouldn't have to do that to double check, yes, they're aligned.
You can. It's very hard to check until you put it together. for that over that distance, they're a 5.5 metre long length. Each length weighs about 1.6 tonne, and a 16 mil rotation out on those flange holes. And the flange holes themselves are 33 mil, and so it's half a hole each bolt's out. These are high pressure. You don't have the tolerances. When that's turned on, it's 350 metres of pressure that we're trying to allow for in this pipe. One tiny little bit of outage it's going to let go in a minute. Let's go. So we're obviously a little bit more conscious when we deal with the high pressure stuff rather than the low pressure. It's a bit more forgiving. Here it's not. You'll get caught out with any kind of bad form or bad standard putting in. We've had multiple. I mentioned in the February report that there may be some pipework issues. It's obviously come to fruition. And the big key aspect there, the main reason we're requesting additional money, is that our staff have put an extra $500,000 worth of their labour and time being on the project to take it away, because we've had contractors put the pipework in place. We're now going to go take it out, swap it all over, replace it, and put it back in. And so all of that cost is basically due to time and our input on it. So we never accounted for those hours. That's taken us from our other projects as well. So my mech team have basically been out there full time. So it's just extended it. The project itself, when it's finally coming along, the quality is good. That's one good thing. It's just, I suppose, the quality of the supply of materials. I've never dealt with this before on any project, where normally we buy a piece of pipe and we expect it to be the condition that you paid for it. And these aren't cheap. We got a price for a replacement length of just one length was $30,000. So the prices are up. We paid nowhere near that when we purchased that. But in the current situation, that's what they're trying to charge. So it's.
But I note in the report that the overall budget is still within what we allocated 3 years ago.
Correct, yeah. The first adoption, I don't know why I took the money away. I thought I was being really good and efficient, but next time I will not. We are technically, by the time we finish, we should still come under the original budget contingency to about $120-something thousand. So.
Chair, you come back on the company on those pipes that are out of line?
Yeah, it's hard to debate and argue on a lot of the things because they're one side, we're the other. We've received full credit for what we've paid, basically, and they've thrown in additional gasket kits and bolt kits, which they're expensive as well. I think they're about $12,000 to $20,000 all up for that arrangement. So they've thrown that in on top as a full credit replacement. But when we've gone to another supplier, obviously we selected the first one because they were cheaper price, obviously probably for a reason. So we'll be a bit more smarter in our procurement in future. We'll have a lot more standards and a lot more QA from our side in documentation. This recent one with the 750 pipe, like Aaron mentioned, it's come with a certification certificate, which we requested last time. It was ticked off on quality assurance, but it wasn't the fact. So whether they're ticking it and not doing it properly, I don't know. There's a few things we have to sort through in the future.
But I was down there last week or the week before, and it just blows my mind. Like if you have a look at the bottom left-hand corner of the photo there in the workshop, each of those components, about 6 or 7, and that's replicated 4 times. The guys have to do, there's about 36 bolts there. And they're not small bolts, they'll be 50, 60 mil in diameter. The heads, going to undo all of those, put a piece in, do it up, and then do the next one. And it's quicker to do that rather than pull it all out onto the ground and reassemble. So it's a very long process. Multiply. It's three pump stations. Sorry, 3 pumps.
3 pump. That's and the 750. So it's a good comment, Aaron. Is around the bolts. They're actually the bolt heads are around 55 mil, and we have to torque these to precise components. The 750 is actually at 1160 newton meters of torque. You physically can't do that. So we've had to procure, obviously, some half-decent hydraulic gear The issues we've found is that even with the hydraulic gear coming in and the flanges, the sizes of your sockets actually don't fit. So we've had to come up with some pretty good stuff. It's a great project. It's a great process. It's just very time consuming, and that's where a lot of the cost is. It's in projects like this. It's that last 5%, and yeah, it's a great experience for the guys though. Yeah.
Righto, so if there's no further discussion or questions on that, we'll take a vote on all in favour of that recommendation. Against, carry. Thank you. 15.2, the water production report. Recommendation there that the water production report be received and noted. I think it shows we're tracking along quite well there. There is a new table at the end there, I believe, that we haven't seen before, which is just collates all of the water sources together where we're at throughout the year. An interesting addition to the report. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I forgot to get a mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Matt and Lise, thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that was interesting. I had a question for Aaron. What does WAL mean? It didn't seem to collate with anything to me, but that is the number of our water licence. Or anyone, the water licence. Sorry.
I shouldn't have even left it in there. I don't think it provides no.
Anyway,
no
we all know now. So, no other questions or discussions on that recommendation? If not, I'll take a vote on that. All in favour? Right. Against, carried. Thank you. 15.3, adoption of the new drinking water management system. Recommendation, the council note the information detailed in this report and adopt the new drinking water management system. A mover and a seconder, please. Cameron and Graham, thank you. I might get Jeff to just go through the highlights of that. I read that till my eyes went spinning. It's quite a comprehensive report, very well done. Addresses all of the issues we have to comply with. So, Jeff, if there's anything you'd like to comment on that.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I suppose the main things for consideration is the difference from our existing, which we developed in 2018. The main changes that have come about is we originally started with 82 actions that we had to implement that we were non-compliant or behind the technology on, that the regulators and the Australian Drinking Water Guidelines require or recommend. We completed 81 of those. There's only one outstanding item since we actually commenced that, which was a massive achievement, which was really good. A lot of that required like full upgrades at treatment plants and things like that for online monitoring for our water quality side of things and management plans, development plans, all those, which was great. The key changes that have come in have been because of the update in the Australian Drinking Water Guidelines. The main ones that will impact us is the PFAS. So there's provisions there now of changing the PFAS limits, and also manganese. Manganese historically was always an aesthetic issue. Now that there's limits being adjusted within the system for the Australian Drinking Water Guidelines, it now becomes more of a health-related monitoring system that we have to keep a track of, obviously for our Aura and Mount Arthur schemes, where we do get a lot of dirty water complaints. However, having a quick brief look over our last 10 years of water quality data, we're still under limits, which is great. That saves us about $50 to $70 million in the treatment process. They're probably the key ones out of the whole process, and obviously we've now upgraded major infrastructure like Aura, so we've got additional storage and things like that. So the historically we used to utilise Junee and the trunk main to Junee from Aura as part of our storage and disinfection process. The drinking water guidelines require us to disinfect with chlorine at 15 milligrams per litre for 5 minutes of storage, basically. We could have only ever achieved that historically if the Juni and the trunk main was included. So historically that was always agreed to with the regulators. Now that we've upgraded our infrastructure, we've got the additional 8 megs of storage on site. Now we're fully compliant with everything. That basically means if water leaves site, doesn't matter who we're selling it to, whether it's a stock and domestic or not, it is now compliant with the Australian Drinking Water Guidelines, which is a big thing. They're probably the key ones.
Wonderful. Any other comments or discussions on that?
I have a question. Yeah. Do we have, like you have standpipes that supply drinking water to households?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we don't have any nominated retailers that take water from standpipes on our books. So historically, we've sent letters out to contractors and things like that that would cart water for such provisions, because under the health requirements, we have to keep them on the books, and there's quality assurance requirements that they have to undertake to make sure that their truck's prepped and that they can compliantly transport and provide that water for
The
testing.
reason I ask is what issues do we have with compliance from the standpipe itself? Are all of those standpipes capped? Do they have caps on them, or are they open to the birds to get in there, lizards and all the other crap that fits in there, like the man plugs in, off goes to pretty nerds water tank? And
It's a good question. There are a lot of old ones out in the system that are on private property or managed by others that we have on the books. I think there's 16 in total that we've got from memory. In terms of that, we still have backflow devices and things like that that stop that process or issue. So that's the compliance side that we do on our side of the meter. We don't necessarily manage too many, if any, standpipes for like permanent take water use. We do the automated ones, which we've installed one at West Wyalong, Barmedman, Ardlethan,
and
about to do June
tomorrow.
and tomorrow. Yeah, and it's got an electronic system where they come up with a key pin.
yeah, they're
Tag
the
it,
ones
that's
I'm
right.
talking about.
Yeah.
We've just had a new one installed in Cootamundra.
Yep.
And you've got the registered people who take water to take out to farms that have rainwater tanks. If they run out of water, they give away the water.
Yep.
And it's just an open, the cap, there's no cap on the thing, and then old farmer Fred who's been sucking his cow poo out and whatever else comes in, he hooks up to the same damn thing.
Yep.
And then along comes the qualified person, hooks up to the same thing. What is the regulation going on? The reason I ask is because I worked at as a water provider and compliance manager for up in Nuremberg for all the mines and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
They all had to be stainless steel. They all had to be capped, and there were different toggles for different things. So if you were a provider of water, you could only take it out of this one. If you were just taking it to water a road or something, it came out of the overhead one. So there was no contamination going onto that thing there.
Yep.
Now that's a food grade quality that water comes out of there. And the same person that does our cafes and whatever else that pings people for having screw holes in the doorway where they removed the door that's not filled is the same person that's saying, no, that's all right.
Correct. So I'll try and put it very quickly, which is hard. There's a lot in it. But long story short, in terms of our side, we have backflow for protection.
Yes.
In terms of the other side, anyone who's transporting for potable water purposes should be qualified and undertaken under that register that I mentioned before. Part of that process is their quality assurance, where they must clean, test, and before provide. So they've got all that process that they have to undertake. That's not on a council process. That's actually
It's in the council register to say that they abide by it.
we need to keep a register so that we know who's doing it, and if ever we can go and ask for the information and an audit.
And up there, we used to have to provide a certificate every 3 months to say that we cleaned those
Yep.
trucks.
Yep, correct.
And they met, whereas they don't have to do that.
And it's hard because we can never get anyone to respond to say that we do that as a job. But
The problem I'm having is that those people comply with it, but then council's not complying with it because that thing that they plug onto can have any sort of crap attached to it at any stage. And there's no real check on it because they've now brought in a credit card payment system. So whereas before you used to have a taggle, so you knew who was the potable water people taking it, who was taking it for roads or whatever else. That doesn't exist anymore. The fleet comes up, you can take the water with any dirty old pipe wants to put in.
That's right, and it comes down to the operator's cleaning procedures prior to taking water. It's on them to make sure that if that's part of their business operation, that they're providing potable and that they're undertaking those quality assurance requirements.
So Jeff, it's a bit like when we do the water testing, we either clean the tap, swab it, or use heat to.
That's right, yeah, we either burn things off or we use super chlorination to really kill whatever's sitting there.
Interesting point though, because I know with the mine, there's probably 3 truckloads a day goes out there.
Yeah.
And they've been wanting water for over 300 people.
Yeah, and we've provided it.
So they would have, I know with the mine side, they would have their own things in place.
Yeah.
That would have to be.
Yeah.
With it.
Yeah, and we've sent out multiple letters. We just never get a response to say that that's what they do as a job for potable. So
Up at Moranbah, mines used to once or twice a week when you go do a load, they take a sample from the truck.
Yeah.
Check to see what the chlorine level was and all that sort of stuff. And then Isaac Council itself would randomly come and just take a sample.
Yeah.
And check all your fittings and whatever else. Because we used to have to carry disinfectant bottles and
Yep.
do the things every time, but there's nothing, there's no checks done here, so you know, this is the problem I'm having, and I'm beating my head against a brick wall trying to get it sorted out. So
yeah, if they're on a register, they need to be checked. That's part of our requirement that health obviously places part of from everyone. But it's if people aren't registering that's what they do as a business, it's very hard to chase.
yeah, what I'm saying
But as a
is-
bulk customer, is that our problem or it's just?
No, it's
their bulk.
It does. They're a retailer, so they're selling retail water as well. We just provide. They're our bulk customer, but they're a retailer. They're specific.
So it's a matter for that council.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
It's
it's not-
a matter for council,
It's your.
and because they're delivering to people to drink, it has to be food quality.
Oh, yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but, and there's no guarantee that is happening when that doesn't have a cap on it, and anything can get in, and I can guarantee you that these people are not coming in, wiping the inside, the thing out,
That's what they start.
making sure it's clean, and now that they've got the credit card, I'm saying, you don't know who's taking that other than from the credit card thing. Now, they're not, that can be not registered, you go, well, I don't have to be registered to take the water, so what I previously had to be.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, and that's the hard part is that they don't have to be registered to take the water. They just have to be registered if they're providing it for potable water use. And that's the difficult
Yeah. So,
thing to control. And health provide all the guidance. So, and the hard part is as well where they're taking them. Obviously, for rural customers and things like that, as a majority, if they are doing something like that, there's also guidance that health provide for those rural customers on how to manage and maintain their own water tanks. Ensure that they're disinfecting their water and things like that. So that whole process, very hard to control, but there is guidance around it. It's just up to the individuals to manage that, which otherwise would be very difficult to.
It's not as soon as it's.
Seems like they at least need a cap on it.
Yeah, well, that's it, it's a simple thing, just put a cap on the
Cap,
gas,
yeah.
it's not crap at me, to start.
Put the cap back on now.
Well,
That's it. The issue we've had is that we've had a lot of trucks that just drive away while it's still connected. So we need to replace it.
Okay, if there's no more further, I'll take a vote on the adoption of that recommendation. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 6, Engineering Manager, Sammy, Capital Works Progress Report. The recommendation there, the council receive and note the Capital Works Progress Report as of 31st of May 26. A mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Graham and Matt, thank you. We have a report there in front of us. There's an updated figures there being supplied to us. Is there any questions on that?
It says settings will be going.
Yeah, we're progressing very well. We're nearly the end of the year. I see some projects have changed where the money went, but it all adds up to about the same in the end, so, yeah.
Totally different to what used to be years ago, like, it'd be only half done, half what the.
Yeah, no, I think we've got a good team working very well there at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on that? If not, I will put a vote recommendation. All in favour?
All right,
Against? Carried. 16.2, backflow prevention charges. The recommendation there that council note the information contained within the report. So this is something that was quite alarming. How many of those? Mover and a seconder, please, for that recommendation. Matt and Graham, thank you. As I was saying, it was alarming how many of those devices have been removed for whatever reason, obviously not by us. But, sometimes by us, yeah. Anyway, that's good, we've done the audit.
Through you, Mr. Chair, might be a good idea if Sammy gives us a brief overview, because it's a massive project. It's been something for years that we've been tackling.
Yes. So originally when we brought it in, the anticipation was, as it currently still is, that we would install the backflow for our rural customers on our side of the meter, and that we would undertake the testing and regular maintenance, and that we would charge them a fee. During the implementation, we did find that we had quite a few issues because when it travels through this device, it does take about 7 meters of head off. So when you think about in your township, if you've got like Borellan, the reservoir there is about 24 meters high. So that's the most pressure you're going to get at your meter. So when you take about 5 meters of that off, suddenly what's already quite low pressure is halved. And so with our rural customers, what we're also finding is there were stock troughs up hills, or houses were often quite a far way away from where our pipeline was. So when we installed these, people suddenly had no water in their troughs, or they had no water at their houses and things like that. So there were a lot that either weren't installed or some that were subsequently removed. And so we were never 100% compliant. And the rollout process just took us a lot longer than we were originally anticipating, as we overcame a couple of different challenges. So it then also the problem was we didn't know where we had backflows installed and where we didn't. And we were not maintaining them the correct way as well as we should be. So we've done our audit now, which we've gone and we've gone to every single rural customer meter, and we've identified where we don't have backflows currently there. We've done the testing, and any that haven't passed have been replaced. And like I say there, because some of them had been maybe 5 years since they've been tested, we had a higher failure rate. So going forward, we've got it in place to be doing annual testing. And that will drastically reduce our failures as well, because it's a spring-loaded system. So when you do go and you test it, you are actually exercising that spring. So that's going to also help it from seizing in future. So we're anticipating that that's going to be a big improvement going forward. And then just on the industrial and commercial backflows, we require that to be on the customer's side of the meter, because depending on what they've got going on in their internals, like if you've got a factory or something, the code actually requires you to have different devices at different locations. So we can't manage that. So we say, okay, it's got to be on your side of the meter, and they've got to test it, and they've got to let us know and give us annual compliance reports each year. And we should be maintaining this on a much more comprehensive register. But what we've identified is we don't really know which customers need to have backflow and which customers do have backflow to be able to check that we're getting those compliance reports. So our next step there is that we have engaged, or we are in the process of engaging a plumber to go and undertake at our cost a hazard assessment for all of our commercial and industrial, so that we'll know now, yes, because of what you're operating inside your business, you will need this backflow prevention device. Every single meter has one within the meter. It just depends on whether that's acceptable or not because of your hazard rating. So when you get something that's a high hazard, you actually need to have a device that we can test, and a device that will discharge water, so there's no chance of it any contaminants coming back into our system. So things like abattoirs, hospitals, that sort of stuff. A clothes shop is not going to need it. What's going to be in the meter is going to be fine. So we're going to get those hazard ratings, and then we'll work with our commercial and industrial customers to work out who needs them and how we go about maintaining that in the future. So it's been really good. And then just in line with that, I just wanted to flag that we have brought in some new fees around that this year. So any of our rural customers that do have a backflow prevention device, there'll be an annual charge of $143 per annum. And that's to cover the fact that our staff are now going to be going out every single year, and they're going to be testing, and they're going to be replacing when they need to. For our commercial and industrial customers, we've brought in that there'll be a $50 overdue charge. So we'll need to send out letters to them to let them know your annual testing is due, you need to do it within this date, and then to try and incentivize them to get it done on time. If they're overdue, there'll be a $50 fee, and that just helps cover our costs of the administration in terms of trying to chase them up and get them to carry out the works. And then where we can't get them to be compliant on their own, we thought our next step, rather than just doing a restriction or a disconnection, our next step would actually just be to engage a plumber to charge them at cost plus that 50%, just to sort of incentivize that they don't say, okay, well, if you're going to do it at cost, you can just do it. And so, yeah, those are the 3 fees that are coming in relation to backflow, which are different from previous years. And then, yeah, the plan is in August, I'll bring another report back just to let you know our bit of a timeline with our forward planning. We'll have an update to the policy. And then, yeah, we'll just keep on top of it going forwards, and hopefully it'll be a good space.
There's legal obligations on us, and like with regards to the commercial ones, it talks about us, we need to maintain a register. So I don't think it's good enough to just say, oh, it's on them. Like, it is on the property owners to do it, but there is a requirement on us to maintain a register. So have we done everything reasonable? And that's why we thought we'd start the audit. And I think we're starting an audit in one town first.
We're going to start with Main first. When we engaged plumbers to do the audit, it was very hard to cost how long it would take them to go to all the individual businesses, how helpful people would be, what sort of process we're going to use. So we're using Main as a trial, and that should occur next month. And then after that, we'll know a bit better after that, what's that going to look like for us in terms of our fees and charges and engagement of the plumber and timing as well, how long it takes to get around.
With regards to the rural charge, the board did resolve many years ago that when we implemented the backflow, that the farmers or the rural connections are to pay the annual charge, but we hadn't implemented that until we're starting this regular testing. So the rest of the customers shouldn't be paying that. So whoever's required to, which will be the rural customers, pay that, and we've estimated that based on the recent works. It's $147 or something.
It was, yeah, based on the recent works, and then discounted a bit because going forward it's intended that our internal staff will be doing it, so it'll be, yeah, lower costs.
Yeah, it's $143 across the page, and it is a lot cheaper than them getting a plumber. So some other organisations organise once a year, you need to supply this, and that's where I think the board agreed many years ago that we do it would be cheaper overall per customer.
And you know, stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's any other questions or comments on that, I'll get a vote on the recommendation. All in favour? Against? Carried. 16.3, procurement and disposal of goods, services, materials policy update. Recommendation that council endorse the updated PP01 procurement and disposal of goods, services and material policy. Mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Rodney and Cameron, thank you. Okay, we have the policy there in front of us. Good to see we do a discount for local suppliers.
Yeah, through the chair, it's interesting. We're just dealing with one at the moment that where one of the applicants will get a 3% discount and the other will get 2%. So it's interesting. Sometimes it's just, one of the applicants will, which is subject to the definition for it.
Okay, no further questions, discussion? I'll give it all in favour of that recommendation?
Right.
Against? Carried. Thank you. 17, the General Manager's Council Resolution Update Report. Recommendation, the Council note the Council Resolution Update Report. Mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Neil and Les, thank you. Discussions on that? So most things have been quitted. We're still negotiating with Carrickfergus Shire Council, I see.
Yes, we are.
Any other questions or discussion on that? Being none, I'll take a vote. All in favour of that recommendation?
Aye.
Against? Carried. 17.2, adoption of the operational plan. Recommendation. 1, Council adopt the 2026-27 operational plan as exhibited on public display. Council notes and adopts the minor adjustments as detailed in this report and reflected in the attached draft 26-27 operational plan. The fees and charges be made for the 26-27 financial year as detailed in the adopted 26-27 operational plan. Fees, charges, schedule. Mover and a seconder for that recommendation. 3 points. Cameron and Graham, thank you. I just note there in the report that the adjustments are due to Office of Local Government Circular, advising if there's some increases, a decrease in the percentage of interest related to charge.
And through the chair, the percentage increase across all the fees and charges that aren't statutory were 5%. So we've done our price path over 4 years being 5% per year. And you'll note there was no public submissions received. Through the chair, capital works is always a good one to look at. I think if you have a look over page, I've got a couple there, some of the big projects as a result of discussions being page 186. So when we're looking at our network works, we've got the Gammain to Coolman trunk main upgrade. You might recall the last 2 years we've really struggled. In prior years to that, we have struggled to supply. There's been an increase in demand, and that project is being brought forward. We do have a number of projects for the guys, so I'm not sure how far we'll get through that in the year. It is budgeted for the year, it might be over 2. Sammy, is that about 14 kilometres? Somewhere thereabouts. Another couple or 2 over the page. Big ones over the page 188, which is just in the pump station asset classes. So Julian High Voltage number 2, as we mentioned, is just kicked off this year, but there's around $3 million spend next year, and again a further 5. So it's over 3 years, a bit like the other major pump station projects. So there's numerous projects in there. They're the 2 major ones, and we do have one there. It was just missing it. Junee Routes, which is another one of our pump stations. I was mentioning that to the chair. It's just out the road. It's been in place, I think, the whole existence of the scheme, which is 50 years this year. There is no backup on it, but it does show it's a reliable pump. It is a booster for the summer period, but it's something that we're needing that more often, that pump station. And given 50 years, it's definitely up for a refurb or replace with a backup as well too. So if it does fail, that pump station still runs, but at winter flow rates. So if it was to be out for a period of time, you'd probably have to do some form of restrictions during those summer months. So that's in there as well too. And then if we go right down the end, the total capital, we're looking at around 17.3 mil, which is similar to this year. So we're around that, with a couple of major projects absorbing half of the funds. And then I guess right back at the start, just showing that we've got small surpluses budgeted going forward. Go back to the earlier section, page 180, just the net operating result before grants for capital. We've budgeted a small $37,000 surplus, but as you're all well aware, our water delivery can fluctuate somewhat, given they were up near that well in the 9,000 megalitres this year and last year. It was only a couple of years ago we were in the 7s. So I think we've conservatively estimated around 8,250. I think that's a summary.
No, thank you. Is there any other questions or comments regarding that recommendation?
Chair, just in the first page, out of the report says that community education and engagement officers positions been restructured. What was?
Yeah, so the reason through that, Mr. President, is in the action items, so the title name's changed, so there has been a change in the positions here in the office, and the only reason we've raised it there is in the deliverables, the responsible officer title's changed. So we're just highlighting that to the board members and the public.
Nothing further? All in favour of that recommendation? Against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, page 211. 17.3 Water Management Conference. Recommendation there that council approve the attendance of the acting general manager and the chairperson approve the attendance of an additional board member. A mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Right. Liz, thank you. So the additional board member, I think Jo has mentioned there, she's absent today, but she's put an interest in to attend that if there's no one else wanting to take her place. We'll approve the attendance of Jo.
Just know that one of the speakers in page 217, Nicole Reed, she's a local girl.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, works on council.
Okay. Yeah, no, I went to my first conference last year. It was quite educational. Bit of a trip this time. It was Albury last time. A little bit further away.
Yeah, through the chair. I think the board will be flying this.
Yeah. Well, right. Right, all in favour of that recommendation there that Jo be yep. Against? Carried. Uh, 17.4 Local Government Annual Conference, New South Wales Annual Conference. Recommendation that endorse the chairperson as Gulfville's Board of Voting Delegate for the New South Wales Annual Conference, approve the attendance of the General Manager and the chairperson, approve the attendance of an additional board member. Mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Matthew and Neil, thank you. Any discussions there? There is your opportunity there for an additional member to attend that. That person doesn't have to be nominated today. It's not until November. I notice accommodation has been sorted for an extra person. Does anyone want to put their hand up for that? That's in Wollongong, that conference.
Really interesting for those who haven't been. Interesting's a loaded word, but I didn't know.
Oh,
It's
it's
fascinating.
Interesting.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Character building. Interesting is
Through the chair, if one of you is over the next month or two decide to just let Ash know, we can accommodate it. So there is that spare slot.
I believe we'll be driving down to there. It's just down in Wollongong.
Yep.
Okay, all in favour of that recommendation? Against? Carried. 17.5 Business Activities Strategic Plan. Recommendation that council approve the design update to the 2025 to 2030 Business Activity Strategic Plan to align with the new IP&R documents. A mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Cameron and Graham, thank you.
So through the chair, there is no change to the content. We've We've just updated it to the corporate colours and added a few photos and diagram improvements, just so it aligns with the other documents.
Okay, so no comments, questions on that? I'll say we put it to the vote. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. 17.6, appointment of acting general manager. Recommendation that council appoints Alex Dellenberg, operations manager, as acting general manager during the period 28th of August to the 11th of October inclusive. Mover and a seconder for that. Matt and Rodney, thank you.
Sounds a bit dodgy to me, you said.
You can't get further away.
We like to share it away,
That's great.
share it around.
Use the bus to step from the traffic power.
So through the chair, if I take extended leave, we bring the report here to the board's aware, and then they appoint. If it's a short period of time, then just with the chair and I, we organise that.
Not another trip around Australia, Alex.
A little bit further afield.
Further? No, very good. Anyway, we have a recommendation there. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 9.18, there's no businesses with notice. Notice of motions, nil. I'd like now to move into a closed session. The council considers the confidential report listed below in a meeting closed to the public in accordance with section 10A-2 of the Local Government Act 1993. We'll move into that at 10:55. A mover and a seconder for that. Les and Neil, thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay.
through the chair, in item 20, confidential reports, 20.1, Arrow Reservoirs and Aeration Project finalisation, the board resolved as follows. 1. Note the information detailed within the report. 2. Acknowledge that all contractual obligations are now closed out regarding key civil. And 3. Note that the total project delivery outcome was a success with a saving of $739,000, $543.75 from the original project budget provisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 22, next meeting. To be held at Goldfields Water Tomorrow office at 10 a.m. on Thursday, the 27th of August, 2026. Meeting closed, 11:10. Thank you, everyone.